Oh, come on.
Is it streaming? I think we're streaming. Are we streaming? Yeah, we are. So that's going to be in there.
Saying things.
Awesome. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of VCC Live. This is episode 32. Tonight we are talking about the 2017 Cole Bishop legislation. Just came out today. I saw the notice early this morning from Representative Cole's office. He is a Republican out of Oklahoma, and he has teamed up with Democrat out of Georgia, Sanford Bishop. And we're going to talk about that. But first, how are things going, guys? You give me a chance while you're talking about what happened to you this week to make sure I get everything running correctly.
You go, Nick. I always go first.
Well, that's because you're directly next to him, so you're like the co-host, and then I'm like the band leader. It goes in a northerly quadrant. I don't know what that means. Yeah, things are good. You know, things are just busy. I say the same thing every week. A lot of shooting video, a lot of editing video, podcasting, and whatnot. I may go to Atlanta at the end of March for the Vape Showcase show. But I'm not 100%, but I may go. Nick Bassett, Daily Vape TV, was trying to get me to go because he's going. So he's like, you need to go so we can hang out. Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him. He was trying to get me to go. So there's a chance I'll end up in Atlanta at the end of the month. So that's actually going to be my first event of the year, I think.
You know what I heard about Atlanta? There are like a whole bunch of hunting parties getting together to go like hog hunting down there.
Well, I don't
see
really
Nick as a hog hunter.
I don't see Nick. Yeah, I don't see me as a hog hunter either. If there's any like bourbon hunting groups, sure, let's do that.
Nick, you're not allowed to do that without me.
Well, then you should come down to Atlanta.
You don't go to Atlanta to hunt for bourbon. You go to Kentucky.
Well, I'm sure you could still get bourbon in Atlanta.
Well, I can get it in
Florida. Yeah. Well, now that you moved VCC, there's a better chance of me going to VCC.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are good. Over to you, Jay.
Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, I'm so unprepared. Well, this week it's been all about reforming advocacy efforts in Massachusetts about the two bills that we're facing, the 21 plus tobacco bill, which includes vaping products, and also a 40% wholesale tax. Things have gone very well. They've elected officers, and I'm proud to say I was able to deflect. I am not an officer in this new organization, but I am, I'm kind of their mascot. I'm going to be helping them with the transition, providing them with a lot of materials and knowledge about what we've been through over the last couple of years. So it's really looking good. If you're in Massachusetts, if you're a retailer or wholesaler or I don't know, juice maker, there's a couple of those. Look into us. But I won't tell you where to find us yet.
Good. Way to be cryptic.
Yeah,
that's good.
Way to get people.
It's guerrilla marketing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So let's see. Are there any comments real quick? Some people are saying, "Hey, what's up, everyone? We appreciate you guys watching and tuning in live. We appreciate you also watching the replays if you're watching the replay. So thanks for that. Make sure whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live right now that you hit that like button down there for us. It really helps out." And also share the link once we get it up in the Facebook Live group, VCC Live Facebook group. Let me get that right. Which is usually later tonight or tomorrow. Matt says it's his birthday, 30. Happy birthday, Matt. Thank you for joining us on your birthday. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Happy birthday. That's good.
And what's
child?
up?
Dirty 30. Shout out.
Dark Light Vapor UK. I know you're in the UK, so you're up late watching us. We appreciate that. So thank you all for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. We have mainly one thing to talk about today. Will it take the whole hour? We're not sure, but we're going to discuss it Both Jay and Nick were working on different things today, so I'm not sure they had much of a chance to read about this. But let me hop over real quick to the full screen version, and we'll show you the announcement that came out of Tom Cole's office today. So it says, Cole and Bishop introduced the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017. But previously in 2015, you'll know that it became HR 2058, but it was just Tom Cole, and he introduced the FDA Deeming Clarification Act of 2015. And I just finished writing an article. It took me a couple hours to put together. I put it on breathemagazine.com in the current news section. I'll probably flip over to that and share some of it as well, because it took a long time for me to write it and think about it and get the information there. So, but anyway, I'll read it in its entirety. It's not that long. It says, Washington, D.C., Congressman Tom Cole, Oklahoma 4th District, along with Congressman Sanford Bishop, Georgia 2nd District, introduced legislation to ensure sensible regulations for newly deemed tobacco products by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA. Named the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017, this legislation would amend the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act to change the predicate date for newly deemed tobacco products, impose common sense licensing and advertising guidelines for vapor products, and direct the FDA to establish product standards for vapor product batteries. In 2009, the Tobacco Control Act gave the FDA authority to regulate tobacco products under a deeming process. Instead of using its flexibility to grandfather existing products in 2016, the FDA finalized a deeming rule to assert jurisdiction over cigars, pipe tobacco, and vapor products, using the February 15, 2007 predicate date set in statute. Without this legislation, the FDA effectively is making it more difficult for vapor products to come to market than cigarettes, even though Public Health England, the British version of our Department of Health and Human Services, published a report stating that vapor is 95% less harmful than a cigarette. This legislation builds on the Cole-Bishop Amendment, which was included in the House version of the fiscal year 2017 Agricultural Appropriations Bill. This is a quote by Cole, the next paragraph. While there is disagreement about whether certain tobacco products should be regulated or not, there should be agreement that new regulations should apply to products moving forward and not retroactively, Cole said. Inconsistent authority like this will be detrimental and unfair to many manufacturers and businesses. This legislation preserves the FDA's ability to regulate these products on par with cigarettes, grandfathers currently available products, and then requires the FDA's approval before any new product is introduced. Vapor products, this is still a quote, vapor products offer a promising path for harm reduction for those seeking to quit or limit their smoking, said Bishop. This legislation would ensure the FDA's regulatory process does not limit the availability of safer tobacco options for those seeking to make use of them. To read more about the act, click here, and when you do, it takes you to this page, which has the text of the act all here. It's 9 pages long, I believe. Yeah, 9 pages. So then I took it upon myself to kind of write an article, which I did all this afternoon up until about 30 minutes ago. I finally finished proofreading it and stuff like that. It's called FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017, How We Got Here. And I might come back and read parts of that in a few minutes, but let's go back to us for a second and get your guys' initial reaction to this new piece of legislation, this bipartisan effort by a Republican and a Democrat to come together and basically help save the vaping industry single-handedly. Well, pioneer the effort anyway. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm just riddled with questions, and I don't want to jump
Shocking.
ahead. But what is different about this iteration of the Cole-Bishop Amendment? Or actually, this is its own standalone bill, right?
Correct.
At this point?
Yep.
Okay, so it's no longer the amendment that we've been talking about for the last year. It's now its own bill. So that's the difference. But what else about this is different than what the Cole-Bishop Amendment did or was trying to do?
Actually, you know what? But since you do have questions, and I'm sure you do too, Nick, let me go ahead and actually read what I wrote first, because it explains quite a bit.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Might help us out.
All right, so I wrote this afternoon because a lot of people don't. There are people that have been having a lot of questions and arguments over the last couple of years about HR 2058 or Cole-Bishop or litigation or what are we supposed to be doing here. So this is what I put together today, and I'll read it really quickly. It's not too terrible. I guess it is kind of long, but anyway, it's relevant to what we're talking about. So yeah, sorry guys.
Read it in a Mickey Mouse voice.
I'm going to read it, quickly, but understand it legibly, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, hopefully. Representative Tom Cole, Republican Oklahoma, and Representative Sanford Bishop, Democrat Georgia, introduced today bipartisan legislation to amend the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act relating to the regulation of electronic cigarettes in the United States. The bill, titled the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017, furthers the efforts by these pioneering legislators regarding vapor products and an industry composed of thousands of small businesses with a goal of offering a distinct and safer alternative to combustible tobacco. In 2015, Representative Cole introduced HR 2058, aimed at moving the effective date, February 15, 2007, of the then forthcoming FDA deeming regulations regarding the grandfathering in of products already on the market when the deeming regulation eventually became effective. Industry pleas for the FDA to change the date led to assertions by FDA leaders on several occasions that Congress set the predicate date in previous legislation, and therefore the FDA could not change it arbitrarily. While popular in the vaping community, H.R. 2058 ultimately gained little momentum in Congress as it did not have enough bipartisan support to move any viable legislation through the House of Representatives, including language on minimum battery safety standards desired by House Democrats. Though H.R. 2058 eventually garnered 77 co-sponsors, that would be 75 Republicans and just 2 Democrats, the bill officially died on January 3, 2017, with the expiration of the 114th Congress. Recognizing that his vision required broader support base, Representative Cole teamed up with Representative Sanford Bishop of Georgia in 2016 to draft an amendment to the fiscal year 2017 Agricultural Appropriations Bill, dubbed the Cole-Bishop Amendment. If passed, this amendment would have modernized the so-called predicate date from the archaic proposed date per the deeming regulations to something more manageable and realistic, i.e. the date the regulations became effective on August 8, 2016. Instead of wiping out 99% of the vaping industry, the proposal by Representatives Cole and Bishop would have allowed for an additional 8.5 years of innovation in vapor devices and e-liquids. This is paramount when creating products with increased effectiveness at nicotine delivery and a reduction in dependence on combustible tobacco, leading to a promotion of public health, which should be paramount to the government. Like most reasonable and common sense language in Washington, D.C., the Cole-Bishop Amendment is mired in bureaucracy. The federal government is currently being funded by a continuing resolution passed in December 2016 and runs through April 28, 2017. This means as time passes, the likelihood of Cole-Bishop's success lessens, and it is increasingly unlikely that it will ever see the light of day. All of this leads us to today's introduction of the FDA Deeming Clarification Act of 2017. This legislation rekindles the 2015 attempt by Cole to introduce federal legislation updating the predicate date for newly deemed tobacco products, with some key distinctions. Cole introduced the 2017 iteration with Bishop, a Democrat, and as mentioned, bipartisan support is critical to the act succeeding and becoming law. What does the language in the new legislation purport to accomplish? Most importantly, the predicate date changes to August 8, 2016, i.e. the date the deeming regulations became effective, and stops the imminent decimation of small businesses, jobs, and nearly 9 years of innovation. It is believed that Cole wishes to establish, as he discussed in 2015, a timeline whereby new products can be released for 21 months past the revised predicate date, provided the new product manufacturers submit for substantial equivalence rulings from the FDA. These determinations would be based on much more current technology, however, and not the obsolete February 15, 2007 and prior products. It is noted that should this timeline be implemented, the FDA denies the SE application, the products would be illegal and subject to market removal. And we're getting down to the last 2 paragraphs. I know this is long, sorry. Furthermore, there is language requiring the Director of Health and Human Services to issue, within 12 months of enactment, a notice of proposed rulemaking to establish product standards for vapor product batteries, and within 24 months to promulgate the final standards. This placates the left and increases the opportunity to add more than 2 Democratic co-sponsors, as well as the overall probability of success. The bill also outlines marketing standards, i.e. no marketing to minors, self-service displays, i.e. restricting access to minors, labeling requirements, such as keep out of reach of children and underage sale prohibited, retailer registration, penalties for noncompliance, and defines vapor products. Representatives Cole and Bishop are to be lauded for their efforts to modernize the FDA deeming regulations. In a time of sharp division over virtually every aspect of government in the United States, one hopes our elected officials can see past the aisle to save an industry that is saving lives. Vapers should rally around this latest rendition of a key piece of legislation by contacting their representatives, voicing approval for this bill, and strongly encourage them to become a co-sponsor in order to pass it in both the House and Senate to arrive on the President's desk with great haste. Opportunities to change the predicate date are few and far between, and August 2018, the current D-Day for the American vapor industry, will approach faster than you think. We must seize the day, lest the day seize us. That was a lot of talking. So,
That was a lot.
hopefully it wasn't
And a
too
partridge
fast.
in a pear tree.
Did you guys, get the majority of that? Hopefully there without.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jay still has questions.
Yeah.
Well, from what I was able to glean from that article, I think the fact that it's supposedly clarifying the deeming makes sense, because they've put in language to clarify what substantial equivalence should mean atop of changing the actual predicate date. So it does open up more than just the one window of changing the predicate date. It offers us, some guidance on substantial equivalence. So that's a good thing.
Right. I think what he's going for there, it doesn't say it specifically here, but in I think it was April 2015, he outlined this 21-month, plan, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's trying to go for with this. So it would be 21 months. So basically, products are grandfathered in up till August 8, 2016, and new products can still enter the market for 21 months past that date, but they would have to apply for substantial equivalence.
Right. And we don't have, we don't have clear guidance from the FDA on what substantial equivalence would look like, but certainly it would look a lot better than, a brand new application.
Yeah, and or comparing it to products
Right.
that were out before February 2007.
Right.
Right.
Courtney wants to know why Nick is black and white.
Oh, because I'm mysterious.
I'll turn black and white.
Yeah, you could both go black and white. It's good.
I'll stay in color with my Florida colors on.
And yes, Matt in the chat, my Fix battery died. I was vaping my Fix and I love it, and the battery died. I just tear through those batteries. But anyway, Cole Bishop.
Yeah, the new
Yes.
Cole Bishop.
New Cole Bishop. I like it. I dig it. I'm on board. Does this have any better or worse chances or odds of going through than the original Cole Bishop amendment?
I think so, and the reason why I think so is because that was an amendment to an appropriations bill, and it would have, obviously it didn't get much traction, and it was doubtful whether it would be included. The chances of it being included in the omnibus package were pretty slim to begin with. This is standalone federal legislation that is bipartisan in nature. It's been introduced by a Republican and a Democrat, and I think that this time we, with I wouldn't even say concessions, with the changes that they've made from the 2015 version of the HR, what became HR 2058, I think that it has a much, much higher chance of adding both Republican and Democrat co-sponsors to the bill and gaining traction in the House, and then hopefully at some point in the Senate, and then in front of the president. So yeah, I definitely think it does.
So explain this to me like I'm 5. This is a bill, or it's an act?
It's a bill, right? It's a bill.
It's a bill.
It won't become an act
Introduced-
until it's signed. After it goes through the House and Senate and President signs it.
Okay, so the next step for this is for it to gain co-sponsors or supporters.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then it'll go through committees and
Yes, and then it has to.
the whole.
So there's a lot of steps between right now and this act getting signed as a law.
There are
A lot of time and steps.
Correct, but it's in a lot better position starting out than the 2015 version ever was.
Right.
And that's why I said in the article that I wrote that the vapor community was huge behind HR 2058, and of course anything that you're behind, you obviously see the benefit of it, and you can't understand why somebody else doesn't see the benefit of it. We
Right.
need to change that mentality and not just say, why don't you support this? We need to educate them and hopefully encourage our representatives to become co-sponsors to this bill. I don't think it has an HR number designation yet. It was just introduced today.
Right.
But the FDA, if you're referencing it with your representative and you're speaking to them, you would say the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017, introduced by Tom Cole from Oklahoma.
Right. So the first thing we're going to need to do is think of a catchier name for this
I'm
bill.
sure it'll get a new number designation and what everyone will be hashtagging HR.
Yeah, you need to call it like the Saving Puppies Act or something.
Well, no, I was just thinking something easier to social media, because you could hashtag Cole Bishop, you could hashtag HR 2058, but it's hard to hashtag the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017. So I think for this to really gain any traction, it's going to need a catchier name.
If you failed college English.
Yeah, I'm sure pretty soon that they'll have a numerical designation for it, and we'll run with it, and probably everyone and their brother will have calls to action and encourage everyone to contact their representatives and stuff, which is what we need to do. We need to get everyone behind this, regardless whether they're Republican or Democrat or independent, or if they're from the Oak Tree tribe of Central Florida. We don't care. As long as they support it and they're in Congress or they're in the Senate, that's what we need. We need people on board for this, and we need to, as soon as we get that out, we'll start posting information about where people can find it at congress.gov and stuff like that. So,
and don't expect anybody from Massachusetts to help, because our senators are terrible on vaping.
Well, it's up to you to change their minds, Jay.
Are there any,
yes. I'm gonna change Elizabeth Warren's mind.
Are there any representatives in Massachusetts that aren't all bad, that are sort of reasonable?
Not at the federal level. No, they're all pretty. None. But it's the same for New York. I mean, it's just it's a. I don't want to get political, so I'll just leave it at that.
If you're in a jurisdiction that that does not have favorable, I mean, it doesn't hurt first to call and mention it to them, even if they're not going to vote for it. They'll at least be aware of what it is. But take just a second or two to send Representative Cole and Representative Bishop a thank you note.
Absolutely,
because they are some of the only people at the federal level who are actively fighting and introducing legislation and continually. We're talking about the third year in a row now that Representative Cole has been trying to get something done to change the predicate date, and I think he deserves a big pat on the back for that and a thank you, no matter where you're at in the United States or beyond.
Yeah, I just need to clarify. Tony in the chat said Michael Moore seems like he's going to work with us. That's not Michael Moore, the filmmaker, by the way. That's Michael Moore, the state senator in Massachusetts, who actually sponsored the 40% wholesale tax bill. That's a state senator. That's not federal level.
We're talking about federally elected representatives.
Yeah, we're talking about federal legislation in Massachusetts. We're already making headway because there are people in state government who are willing to listen to our plight.
That's good.
Yeah. Someone in the chat, Tina, mentioned Ron Johnson. Obviously, I mean, I'm assuming he would support this.
He would support it from the Senate side. Yeah. So basically, what happens is you usually have a bill in the House, and then you'll have it'll either pass over to the Senate or they'll have a counterpart in the Senate. And there are a few people, like I'm sure Congressman Duncan Hunter will be on soon as a co-sponsor. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure from the Senate side, we can count on Senator Johnson's support. Mm-hmm. But we need way more than that.
Nick keeps reminding me of Sling Blade.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I want some mustard whipped biscuits.
Well, yeah, I think it's honestly just refreshing to see something in the United States that references the Royal College of Physicians report, the whole 95% less harmful. I think that's great. I mean, usually all the news coming out of the United States is that we're hacking our e-cigs to drip, which Fox News said is exactly like smoking. I mean, there's ridiculous shit going around. So hopefully,
he was referencing the Public Health England report that came out in August of 2015, I think. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's in line with the RCP report as well, So yeah, I mean, hopefully, it'll bring some light to the cause and some attention to the efforts to change the predicate date, which is by far and away the most important thing that we need to do right now. Because I mean, it's already been August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, almost 6 months. Almost 6 months already have passed. That means the next year and a half until August of 2018 is going to be here like that. And if we don't have the predicate
Yeah.
date changed before then, we are done in the United States. We're done.
Yeah, we got to make it happen.
So we got to make that happen, and we need to, this at the moment is before it was Cole Bishop, and Cole Bishop even was, like I said in the article that I wrote, becoming less and less viable as time passes. This is the next new viable thing, and I know that probably vapors out there are going to be saying, "Oh, great! We went from HR258, we went to Cole Bishop, now we're going to this new Cole Bishop, actual federal legislation." Guys, that's the way government works. I mean, that's just how it works. It's not fast, and it's not simple,
Efficient,
it's
or useful.
Yeah, you can't stop the fight, and even if this new bill was to pass, we still can't stop the fight.
Correct.
Because it's going to be a constant fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nature of our industry. We're in nicotine. Get over it. It's going to be a constant fight.
Yep.
Yeah,
Even if
we're still waiting on the Right to Be Smoke-Free Coalition lawsuit as well.
yeah.
Correct.
So
And
that's
we're
the thing
also
that
waiting
we're
to
also
see
waiting for.
what or if Trump's administration will do anything about the FDA deeming regulations. That's still yet to be determined.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of irons in the fire, basically. We're waiting to see which one comes out the fastest and the hottest. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't support alternatives. And this is federal legislation that the FDA would have nothing to argue about. They would have to do exactly what it says should this pass and be signed by the president. So.
But they're not going to make our lives easy. They're gonna try to throw as many pieces of red tape in our faces as they can.
Yeah, that's to be expected. I mean, on a state level too, there's so much state stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's February, and I'm already overwhelmed with federal and state stuff that's going on. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so since we talked about, we've been about a half an hour on that already. Jay, kind of give us an update real quick on what happened or what is happening in Massachusetts. I know you said that the advocacy,
Didn't I do that?
State advocacy organization, you kind of grazed over it, but I mean, can
Yeah,
you tell us exactly what's going on?
So, as a result of this, mostly as a result of this 40% wholesale tax, there is another bill looking to once again classify all tobacco products, including vaping, as 21 plus. But our primary focus, what scares the hell, frankly, out of most of the vendors in the state, is a 40% wholesale tax. So we've mobilized very quickly. We're leveraging a lot of the work that MASFA has done over the recent couple of years, and basically not necessarily forming a new organization. We're trying to figure out exactly what the logistics are on getting us all up and running. But we were able to elect a new set of officers to the organization, fresh blood, people who I feel I'm very excited about. I think they'll really be able to kind of energize the community here in Massachusetts. We're already in the process of actually setting up a meeting with the primary sponsor of that bill, of the 40% wholesale tax bill. He's willing to listen to us. So, we're already making great strides. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we mobilized so quickly. This bill was just submitted a couple of weeks ago, and we're already mobilized. It hasn't gone to hearing yet. It's just made it into committee. Probably hasn't even been talked about in committee yet. So we're really getting in at the ground level. So it's never too late. That's what I would implore people at the state level. It's never too late, man. Like, you hear about a bill, it's not too late. start fighting, start
Well,
organizing.
On the plus side, you guys
And
did have at least a
leverage
skeleton of a structure there in Massachusetts to build upon. It wasn't like you were starting from
Yeah,
scratch.
and most states do. I mean, most states have somebody that they can lean on who's been through something, similar previously, and that's what we're seeing in Massachusetts. We had a couple of organizations actually in Massachusetts that we were able to kind of leverage and lean on and talk about, how did you go about forming, how did you go about organizing. Obviously, the hardest part is keeping people motivated, keeping members contributing, that kind of thing. But in a very short period of time, I'm really very excited about what we've been able to do, and I'm really hopeful that if we don't actually squash this wholesale bill, we can certainly mitigate a lot of the damage that it could do. Just by the fact that they're willing to sit down with us at the table in back rooms before it even goes to hearing, because that's where the real success lies, is in talking to politicians before it goes to hearing. Usually by the time it's at hearing, that's a formality. That's just saying, here, we listened to the people, and then we did whatever the fuck we wanted anyway.
Right.
If you can get into those back rooms and talk to the actual lawmakers, that's where real work gets done.
And even then, it's not always guaranteed.
It's not always guaranteed, but you definitely, the benefits are there, and you definitely stand a better chance of doing some real good if you can get into those back rooms and have real conversations.
Just to be clear, he said back rooms, not bathrooms.
Or bathrooms.
bathroom.
I don't think any of us heard bathrooms, Kevin. I think that was only you.
Oh, maybe it was me. I don't know. I've seen a couple people say, how about Larry Faircloth and his lawsuit? Yeah, he's one of the litigation strategies that are going on right now. There's a couple of different ones. Again, all those are pending. What we're talking about tonight is supporting Tom Cole and Sanford Bishop's new legislation that they introduced today. And that will be another angle of attack, if you will. And, Larry Faircloth's lawsuit, the Right to Be Smoke-Free Coalition lawsuit, the Cole Bishop Amendment, even though it's, like I said, declining in probability. There are a bunch of different angles that we need to be taking. And for today, what we're saying is everyone, as soon as we get some sort of a numerical designation, which, again, we'll put out as soon as possible. But for now, you need to reference, Tom Cole and Sanford Bishop's legislation that came out February 16th, the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017, and encourage your representatives to support it and co-sponsor it. We need, especially if you're in areas where you have a moderate or centerline Democrat, we need to see more Democrats as co-sponsors of this bill to show true bipartisanship and give it legs and let it start becoming its own thing, snowballing, if you will. Just a quick reminder, if you're watching live and you haven't hit the like button, please take a second to do that now. And also share the link whenever we get it up on the replay link when we get it up on the VC Live Facebook page. Matt couldn't be with us tonight, by the way, in case you didn't notice. I forgot to say that at the beginning. But hopefully he'll be back with us next week. And maybe one of these weeks we'll have all four of us on again so we can get, the four different unique perspectives. So we're kind of trading off a Jay and a Nick. Jay looks much cooler in black and white than Grim does. Just saying. That's Flitz. Okay.
I find that hard to. Is that Flitzanu? Really?
Yeah, that's Flitzanu.
He's actually watching the show. Man,
he's
great
just
to
being
see you.
Flitz. Yeah, he's
Great
being
to
a
see
jerk.
you. Great to see
He's
you.
a jerk. Yeah.
Does he still live in Maine?
No, he's never lived in Maine.
I thought he was
What are
in
you
the
talking
West,
about?
Oklahoma or something, right?
He lives in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
His phone number is. I'm just kidding.
Did you see it on the bathroom stall? No, I'm just kidding. Me too.
Yeah, it was one of those political bathrooms.
Matt doesn't love us anymore. Why don't you guys? Well, I mean, he had something. Again, he had a family commitment. And we all do this voluntarily in our time. I just so happened to start doing it from home, which makes it easier for me. Yeah, I mean, if anything ever comes up and I can't do it, then I won't be here. So that's just the way it works.
Yeah, life happens.
Life happens. We haven't skipped a week completely in quite a while, so expect that soon.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know, Nick, you've had some podcasts and videos and stuff, including different information out there. You talked about Ohio and something recently, didn't you? Can you tell us, anything else that you might have seen going on?
Ohio's happening. I think Ohio is a wholesale tax, incredibly high wholesale tax, like 60-something%. I know that Arizona still has the 95% wholesale tax on the books, as well as a bill that's coming through.
Right.
Those are the two big ones I've seen. It seems like everybody weekly will email me, this is what's happening in our state. We need help. This is what's happening in our state. We need help. This is what's happening in our state. We need help. And I'm like, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm not going to be able to change these laws for you. I will do my best to get the information out there, but there's much better ways to go about it than emailing a YouTuber.
Right.
Ohio is 69% wholesale tax for vapor products. And the interesting thing about this wholesale tax is it excludes cigarettes. So there you go.
Wow.
And where did they come up with 69%?
I don't know. Evidently, this is the second time that he's tried to introduce some sort of tax on cigars and vapor products. He failed a year ago or 2 years ago trying to introduce a 49% wholesale tax for cigars and cigars and vapor products only. Cigarettes are excluded. And that fell through and didn't happen, so he reintroduced similar legislation and upped the percentage to 69% wholesale price.
It's the Bill and Ted bill.
Wow.
69 dudes.
Yeah, Bill Tarling says there are over 120 proposed vape bylaws and regulations on the books scheduled across the U.S. so far. That's insane.
ridiculous.
I believe it.
That is. Oh, it's pronounced Kasich. Governor John Kasich.
What did you say?
In my vlog, I was calling him Kasich or Kasich.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrible at pronouncing things. But
You know what's funny about
69%, and it excludes cigarettes.
Yeah. He used to be he used to have a show on Fox News before he decided to run for governor of Ohio. He's a pretty conservative guy, and I just, it's kind of, as a Republican, it's kind of disheartening to see Republicans who are claiming to be conservative, and the main thing about the Republican Party is less tax, less government, more personal freedom. And it's funny how when you get into office, especially as a governor or something, where you're responsible for a huge budget and you have deficits, when you start saying, let's raise some taxes, which was George Bush the first, his downfall, read my lips, no new taxes. And then next thing you know, they're raising taxes. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of, that's kind of an ironic twist on things.
And I mean, to be honest, I'm hardcore libertarian, so I'm going to call you out on the whole Republicans are for individual freedom.
No, I say used to be. It used to be the mantra.
That's kind of bullshit.
It used to be the mantra of the Republican Party.
So
I
it's
think
a
over
little
the
bit.
past 25 years, it's been shifting everything. Less taxes isn't as true as it used to be either. Obviously, it was, as we can see from Kasich in Ohio.
Very true. Very true.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's all the major things we had to talk about tonight. I think we got the
Stuff and things.
We got that. Do you guys watch Slipgator?
Yeah, I still talk to Slipgator like every day on Marco Polo.
Really?
He's from Maine.
He's from Maine.
But
He's from Maine. He was the one.
Is that who you're thinking of? Yeah.
He moved to Tampa
Yes.
last year, I think. I saw in his videos anyway.
So now his name is actually fitting because there are no alligators in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
There's not.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no cold weather alligators. That's
No.
not a thing that exists in the world.
It's not a thing. Maybe as pets, but that's highly illegal.
Maybe as pets.
And then whenever you don't want them
there
anymore,
was
you just-
something else that I don't want to recycle news that we're in the podcast. We're talking about it this week as well. But there was a vendor in Vermont. Did you guys read about this vendor in Vermont?
Mm-hmm. I know
Vapor?
them. I actually know them. I know them.
Know them. Well, you're famous.
vape famous.
No,
But yeah,
they're famous.
evidently this guy got fined $50,000 by who was it?
The
I can't
Attorney
think of-
General.
The Attorney General.
Vermont.
The Attorney General fined this vape shop $50,000 for making unsubstantiated health claims regarding vaping as a smoking cessation product. It's basically this shop was going against the FDA gag order and then got fined $50,000. And
Wow.
he's just going to close shop instead of paying it, which I don't blame him because that would ruin me. Like, I couldn't afford that.
Nope.
I'd have to close my business and sell everything I own to pay that off.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
That's the
they're-
first I've
they're
heard of any
really,
enforcement on it.
well, that's enforcement at the state level for a federal law. So, and these are really cool folks too. I met these guys, God, probably 5 or 6 years ago, back in the early days of the New England Vapor Meets. They came down for a few meets, and really cool folks. But I can see how somebody living in Vermont may not be on the up and up on what's going on federally,
Yeah.
just because they don't even get good satellite there because of all the trees and stuff.
Objection, relevance.
So I can understand how maybe they would have made some mistakes, and maybe they didn't understand like how much political pressure there was against us. So maybe they made some bad decisions. And I feel bad. A lot of people were lashing out at them saying, "Oh, well, they're fucking idiots. They deserve it. This and that."
No,
You know what?
well, it was
Not
their
every mom and
customers.
pop shop has time necessarily to understand all the intricacies of federal and state and local ordinances.
Dark Light Vapor, you said UK says, what did they say? Do we know exactly what they said, Nick? What the statement was?
I had a link to the article, but it's lost into my browser history.
But basically,
there
it was something
there
to the effect of vaping is safer than smoking.
By the time it made it to the news, obviously they had updated their website and all their promotional materials. So I mean, I don't think we'd ever know exactly what they were saying.
I don't know exactly what was
Well,
said.
Bill
now.
says the unsubstantiated health claims was by customers, and therefore shop was charged as if they were solicited.
No, that wouldn't happen.
I don't think
Wouldn't
that's
happen that
accurate.
I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't think that actually is accurate. Let me look through my history,
Okay.
which is something you don't want to do.
I mean, if somebody could pull up a cached version of their website, you might be able to dig something up. But
He says it was customer comments. If you want me to get it for you, customers saying they quit smoking thanks to vaping, felt healthier, etc. I don't know.
I don't think the AG would go after that. I really don't. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Unless they thought that the shop was soliciting those comments to improve their business or something.
Oh,
yeah.
here it is. I found the link. It was in my history, right under RedTube. E-cigarette seller, yeah. Let me just, I don't know, let me peruse it.
You're an asshole.
You're perusing the article on RedTube.
Oh, you want me to peruse the article? Yeah, I was
Yeah,
back
yeah.
on RedTube.
If your screen glitches out to black, we'll know why.
Ever since I Googled dripping teens, it's just, that's all I get is search result.
You were such an asshole.
Holy shit. I never even thought of that, not for a second until you just said it.
Oh, I think,
Dripping teens. Wow. Okay. Rob says there was an American College of Physicians that make the same health claims as a Royal College. They didn't make the same health claims. They just published a report out of the UK. That was the one that said 97% safer.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, and did you notice how little media coverage that got? I would say none. I didn't see it anywhere.
Oh, in the U.S., yeah, none.
It doesn't say exactly what was said, but there is a quote in here from Greg Connolly that kind of makes it seem like it was their customers. Like the gentleman in chat could have been correct.
Right.
It says, for years, the FDA has been advising e-cigarette companies not to make smoking cessation claims, said American Vaping Association President Greg Connolly. However, he couldn't recall anyone in the industry being targeted for doing so. In terms of going after a company for daring to allow customers to truthfully tell their stories, this is the first instance of that.
All right. So if that is in fact true, then what we're looking at is literally the shop can't afford to hire a lawyer to fight
Right. Possibly.
the prosecution from the attorney general. I mean, if that's actually true, I would think it's a slam dunk win, but it's going to cost you $25,000 out of the $50,000 to win that lawsuit.
Right.
So, what do you do?
Yeah. That's terrible. Well, does anyone in chat have any questions about the federal legislation that was introduced today, or anything else that we've talked about tonight besides RedTube?
Hashtag dripping teens.
We don't want to talk about
teens.
that anymore. We want to delete that from our memories. But yeah, if anyone had any questions about anything we talked about, please post it up. Otherwise, we'll end it a little bit early tonight because we talked about everything we had to talk about for this week. Unless you guys have anything else. Not you, Nick. You're done for the night. You're in a timeout.
Shit.
We'll let you get back to your regularly scheduled viewing.
Tony has a question for me.
I have a question for Jay. I just read that for you, Jay.
Oh, and then Mitch had a question for me. Can anyone buy your juice online? Not from me, you can't. But there are some websites that you can. Hey man, who cuts your
VCC liquids? Buy one get one free right now.
No, I never got that mod unlocked, Mike. I never got it unlocked, and I kept trying. It just never happened. That's too long of a story to tell. But basically, there was a mod that I couldn't unlock because it had ridiculous unlock the mod descriptions. That was like, hold the fire button, then press up and then down, and then up and then down again. And so I sat there for probably a half hour in my vlog, like trying to unlock this stupid mod. It didn't work. Still haven't got it unlocked.
Right. Did you? If you get it unlocked, you can play Contra.
Yeah, apparently
30 extra lives, right?
Up, down,
down,
up, down,
left, right, left, right. BA
Yeah.
start.
Okay, so the question from Tony, this is earth-shattering, brand new, breaking news. Hey man, who cut your hair, Jay?
Tonight, nobody. I think he's making fun of me because my hair's kind of all out of whack today because I was wearing I put on my Patriots championship hat when I got home, and then I took it off for the.
Liked it so much that it took it off.
Yeah, just poof.
Matt says, "Kevin, have you lost weight?" No, but thank you. I think it's just a camera angle and lighting.
No, but I have been eating more. No, Darklight Vapor UK asked, "Do you have a full administration put together now in the United States?" I'm not exactly sure what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Does he mean all the cabinet?
Everyone's been appointed.
Officials been appointed. I don't know that everyone's been through yet, but they have gotten through a lot the past week. I know that.
Mexican Americans like their yayas.
What?
Rob asks, anything happened with the drunk guy screaming Nick? What does that mean?
No. Nothing ever came of that. I'm just getting a lot of questions regarding what happened in the vlog today. Which is good. This is a good outlet for that.
There was a drunk guy screaming Nick? I didn't hear it.
No, there was a drunk guy screaming outside my window. I don't know if he was drunk. He was just a guy screaming outside my window.
Oh, so he was asking you, Nick, if the drunk guy he wasn't actually screaming your name.
No, which would have been extra creepy. He was just screaming in general.
Some weird random drunk guy who you don't know screaming your name.
As people do sometimes in a city-ish environment. You just hear screaming and sirens.
Matt says plugs for juice lines, but no hair plugs yet of Kevin. No, I'll never get hair plugs. I am what I am.
No, he's got a perfectly good fitted cap.
I do, and if I want to take it off, it doesn't bother me. I wear the hat because I like it. I'm not embarrassed.
And I'm going to keep not wearing a hat because, goddamn, I'm Italian.
Yeah, thick full head of hair.
Indiana out-of-state juice sales. Any updates? I haven't heard anything since the federal court ruling overturning. I haven't heard anything yet. I'm assuming they're still working on it. Nick, how's your leg? This is important stuff, guys. Make sure you share.
This is good. This is good stuff.
Nick, how's your leg?
It's good. It's good. It's healing up. I still can't run or jog, but I can walk comfortably and like use an elliptical machine in the gym without a lot of pain. So I just can't run yet.
And your sleeve tattoo hasn't fallen off yet. That's always good.
No. Still there. Good. Thankfully, it's still there.
Yeah, Matt, I'm not gonna comment on your stupid cheating Patriots comment.
You just did.
I watched that whole sports ball game, and it was exciting. Jay,
Wasn't it great?
I
Wasn't
was
it great?
thinking about you the whole time.
Aw.
Whoa. Much like the guy standing outside your window today.
Thinking about me crying the entire first 3 quarters, and then
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up there. I don't see any other questions relating to the legislation or anything going on. So we will be back next week, hopefully with all 4 of us. And remember, again, hit that like button down there real quick, if you would, please.
Smash it.
Smash it, punch it, crush it, do whatever you got to do to it. And also share the link once we get it up on the VCC Live Facebook page. If you haven't joined that yet, please do so. Remember to check out the article on Breathe Magazine that I wrote earlier today and posted up. I'll get links to everything that we talked about in the description. That's about it. We look forward to seeing you guys all next week. We appreciate you turning out tonight. And remember, you don't have to do everything. You do have to do something. Get involved.
Beep, 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 beep.